Welcome to your daily 49ers update. I'm Rob Stats Guerrera. Here is what's happening. There have been a ton of injuries for the 49ers this year, including Nick Bosa. Yesterday, Kyle Shanahan was asked, is Nick Bosa going to come back in 2024?
I'm not God, but I think he's got a chance to play this week. So I would think that would lead to getting a better chance each week. But I don't know the answer to that.
Well, I'm sure glad we cleared up whether Kyle Shanahan is God. Look, the defense desperately needs Nick Bosa, but the team isn't really going anywhere this season. So I'm sure there are a lot of people that would like to see Bosa just recover the rest of the season, but I highly doubt the 49ers are going to play it that way. As for the rest of the injuries, let's get to those now. There were 5 people who did not participate in practice on Wednesday. Aaron Banks, concussion, Demetrius Flanagan Foles, knee, Nick Bosa, hip oblique, Jordan Mason, ankle, Trent Williams, ankle. 3 players were limited. Dre Greenlaw with the Achilles. Kyle said he most likely returns on Thursday Night Football against the Rams. Talanoa Hufanga practiced with a club on his wrist, and Diamador Lenore is battling a knee injury. Couple other sound bites from Kyle Shanahan now. Isaac Guerendo, come on down. You are now the starting running back. Kyle, is Guerendo ready for that kind of role?
I think he's ready to go. We were excited about, he got off to a late start with injuries in preseason. I thought he finished in those games well, especially that kick return, he had versus the Raiders, I think. Did some decent things when he started out, didn't get a lot of carries, had some ups and downs, but got better through everything. And then when he got the bulk of the carries, I want to say some more versus Seattle, he only got better, and he's got better throughout the year, so I think he's ready for this.
Isaac has just 42 carries on the year, and he now goes from being RB4 in training camp to RB1 the rest of the way. Hopefully, he can stay healthy, by the way. Speaking of the run, Kyle Shanahan, this team has not been able to stop other teams from running the ball all season long. I have a very simple question for you. Why?
When you ask why, we can go into a ton of things, but the bottom line is we haven't played good enough run defense. You look at all of our losses. These last 2 weeks have been as bad as it gets, especially, when you give up the run game like we have in these last 2 weeks in the first half. The game's almost over before it starts, going into that second half. Still thought we had every chance to make it a game in the second half, but that's when we had our 3 turnovers in both games, which leads to blowouts. If you look at all of our losses this year, I think the least amount of yards we've given up in a loss is close to 150. So we haven't been stopping the run well enough that, starts with people being out of gaps. It can go to missed tackles. It can go to not getting off the field on third down so they get a few more runs called. Can go to not getting enough turnovers. And it can go to missed assignments. So it's all of the above.
The defensive line, particularly the interior of the defensive line, has not been good. Blockers are getting to the second level, and running backs are having a field day for the 49ers. I don't know how that changes the rest of the way, but if it doesn't, the rest of this season is going to be very, very ugly. We always give you one thing to read, one thing to watch, and one thing you might have missed. One thing to read on this Thursday, Richard Sherman offered his thoughts on how the 49ers keep their Super Bowl window open on his podcast. NBC Sports Bay Area has the quotes. If you want to read them, I will put the link in the description of this episode. One thing to watch. I had the pleasure of sitting down with Oscar Aparicio of the Better Rivals podcast yesterday. He was incredibly insightful on just one subject. We drilled down on just the narratives involving Kyle Shanahan, which are true, which are not, and why. I highly recommend you go and watch that episode. Plus, Barstool Big Cat joined us for the crossover podcast. I'll have the video up on the YouTube channel today for Good as Gold members. If not, the rest of you will be able to read it later, or watch it, I should say, later in the week. Same for the audio podcast. One thing you may have missed, Christian McCaffrey scared the hell out of every 49ers fan yesterday by posting a message to Instagram that began with a black and white picture of him walking out of a stadium. But the good news, it wasn't a retirement message. Instead, it read in part, quote, "This wasn't my year, and sometimes when it rains, it pours. You can feel sorry for yourself and listen to the birds, or you can hold the line. I'm grateful for the support of everyone in my corner and promise I'll work smarter and harder than ever to come back after this. I love my teammates, I love the 49ers, and I love football. God doesn't miss. Onward." Whew. Thank goodness Christian McCaffrey not retiring. In fact, the complete opposite, and hopefully he does come back stronger in 2025. That's a wrap on today's 49ers in 5. Please rate, review, and follow the Gold Standard Podcast Network wherever you get your audio pods. Like and subscribe to the YouTube channel as well. Click the bell so you get notified every single time we're live, which is every single weekday for you after all Niners games and after big 49ers breaking news. Enjoy your Thursday, everybody. I'm Rob Stats Guerrera. We'll talk later today.